Good day everyone. So for today's video, I will discuss about the ensemble performance mode, correct interpretation, reader's theater, and chamber theater. So without further ado, let's get started.
Another highly expressive vehicle for the interpretation of literature is speaking in chorus, variously called choral reading, verse speaking groups, choric interpretation, speech choir, and vocal orchestration. It is an ensemble reading technique where a group of well-rehearsed readers in coordinated voices and related interpretation recite as one. In the interpretation of the prose or poem the group has chosen, the reader think and feel in unison, completely in agreement as to meaning, mood, and rhythm, processing from the opening, then moving to a climax as one. Each voice contributes to the totality of the unified effect, and while their voices may differ in quality and pitch, they are one in saying the sounds, in feeling the rhythm of words and phrases, and in expressing the moods and meaning of the selection. To this day, choral speech interpretation has been presented as form of dramatic entertainment. A very good and well-presented ensemble interpretation is a product of careful preparation and involves the interplay of the following factors. The first one is the selection chosen. The second, the skills and artistic judgment of the choir director. The third, the voice, divisions and combination, choir arrangement. The fourth, practice and performance strategy. And the five is the setting. A variety of materials is readily available for choric groups, ranging from the light to serious selections and until recently even nonsense verses containing vivid descriptions that will hold audience attention. A balance between light and serious selections is necessary, though since a serious poem or narrative prose may bore the audience, while very light selections may not present a value or theme to the listeners. Like the lecture recital, the materials for choral speaking must have a unifying theme, a dominant value and philosophy of life, a rhythm pattern, a central mood or emotion or a strong opposing mood that will give the selection unity. Materials for choral speaking are classified into three general groups: ritualistic, dramatic, and poetic verses. So prayers, hymns of praise and thanksgiving, such as the psalm, expressions of faith and belief, such as the credo, patriotic pledges, such as the pledge to the flag, even the protest chants of demonstrators in present society and the campaign slogan in political rallies fall under the ritualistic mold. The choir director, also called a conductor. Director acts as the coordinator in the same way an orchestral conductor and a play director works. There are a number of qualities a choir director must have, including responsibilities he must assume. First of all, he must be an effective reader himself. Having a sensitive awareness to the mood and meaning of the selection, to varieties of voice qualities, tone, color, melody, and rhythm, to the abilities and voice qualities of his readers, and to the taste or preferences of his audiences. As a coordinator of the group, he should motivate the readers well into becoming a cohesive unit that is ready to perform and interpret the selection to the best of the abilities. As the director, he must come up with a performance that has unity, coherence, emphasis, humor, contrast, and most of all, good taste, never showing off, but acting in the least noticeable way. In fact, if it can be arranged, he must be not be seen at all during the performance. To start classifying the group readers' voices, let all the readers as a whole speak in unison. Observe the differences in voice quality, pitch, intensity, and also distribution of tone and volume. You will note that male voices are lower, heavier, or darker, and female voices are lighter. Next, divide the group into dark and light voices. Listen to each voice and analyze them according to pitch, quality, and range. Note that there will be low voices or the dark, high voices are light, and medium ones is medium. Make further divisions in various combinations: soprano, the highest female voice, and alto is the lowest female voice, and tenor is the highest male voice, and bass is the lower male singing voice, or alto bass, whichever combination will match the rhythm patterns, mode, and meaning of the passages. Another method is a group the choir readers according to the sex, or male or female, then according to the weight and quality of the voice, the dark and the light. As rehearsals progress, further changes can be made to make the total arrangement effective. Whatever voice qualifications and groupings you finally agree upon, always consider the nature of the selection, the abilities and voices quality of the group readers, and the artistic judgments of their choir director. Three choral patterns are especially fed for choral reading, which is the reading in unison, solo and chorus, and responsive speaking or reading. The total effect achieved by group recital in unison is that of several voices sounding like one instrument, each voice blending with one another in synchronized fashion so that no voice get out of rhythm nor drown the another or the other. To produce these unified effects, all readers act, think, and feel as one, expressing the same emotions as interpreted, posing the same places in the same length of time. In coordinated precision, they identify the highest point, A selections, and with voices in unison help produce that feeling and mood. Preparing for the choral performance starts with the selection of materials, the choice of the choir director, divisions of readers' voices, and the choice of choric arrangements which have been discussed earlier. Additional pointers are suggested to complete the entire performance. The first one is understand the selected poem or prose by reading it together with the group members. Analyze its meaning and modes and purpose. Identify the dominant theme and determine whether it is a light or serious selection. As rehearsals progress, practice pronouncing all vowels and consonants clearly and accurately. The third one is identify the selection's highest point of interest and decide on the manner of expressing it so that it will have an impact on the audience. The fourth one is decide where posing and emphasis will be placed, what variety of voice quality, rate, and intensity will match the mood and theme of the selection. Identify which passages will be said in the light or dark voices, which will have be read by male or female readers, or which passages will be recited by solo reader or the chorus. The fifth, decide on voice division and the choral grouping arrangement. Experiment with other ways of groupings and finally decide on the pattern that will bring out the best interpretation of the selection. Whether or not the readers will hold their books or script or memorize the passages or interselection will depend on how it is will affect their performance. If the readers bob their heads up and down to look at their script, then holding the book will limit their bodily actions, such as affecting appropriate facial expressions, and decrease their impact in interpreting the selection. This will result in blurred visual and effects, and it will ruin their performance. On the other hand, memorizing their parts will give them freedom in body movement, but some readers might miss or forget some lines and stare at the door, ceiling, or window in an attempt to recall, then this will not help them any. The choir director must use his good judgments as rehearsal progresses, looking into the advantages and disadvantages of reading or memorizing, the total effect it will give the performance. In trying to establish rhythm in choral reading, the choir director may use both hands. At first one to direct pacing and the rhythm, the other to regulate timing. However, as the readers internalize the structure, catch on with the mood, and establish the rhythm pattern, they can be trained to regulate their own timing. They can identify a central point in the selection of starting, then signal it with the silent count to get the right beat on the opening syllable or slight bow of the head in the real formal gesture before they start. But when they raise their hands, their eyes meet and begin the performance in unison. An ideal stage setting for an ensemble groups like the speech choir where voices reach out the audience and where performers are seen in is an elevated semicircular structure with a compact set of steps rising to the highest elevation at the topmost center. For solo reader and chorus, the group readers stay in the three lower steps while the soloist stands at the highest elevation.